It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and that is here in Bristol. Christine Williamson, Matt Derry with you for a little SportsCenter happy hour. And in Big D, they hope things are happier this year with a new head coach.
It's also 5 o'clock in New York City, where they are hoping things are going to be better with a new head coach. That's TBD. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves and start with that shocker out of New York. It's the breaking news. The Knicks have fired their head coach, Tom Thibodeau, after falling short in the East Finals this year. Thibs helped New York snap a 7-year playoff drought in his first year and took them to the postseason 4 out of his 5 seasons. But their title drought is now 52 years. For more on the Knicks firing their head coach, let's bring in Shams Charania. Shams, why did the Knicks decide to make this move now?
Christine, simply the Knicks believe they need a new voice to take this team to the next step. They felt like Tom Thibodeau's voice had waned, and they simply felt like they need someone else to take this team to a championship level, that someone else will be better suited to lift this team to that threshold. And over the last 24, 48 hours, the Knicks had held meetings internally about Tom Thibodeau, his future, the rest of the roster. And today, Leon Rose, the team president and owner, James Dolan, came to this decision to part ways and fire Tom Thibodeau. But you think about the success that he had. 4 or 5 seasons in the playoffs. He won 50-plus games in back-to-back seasons for the first time in Knicks history since the 1990s. And so a tremendous amount of success, but they feel like they need a voice to take this team to a whole nother level.
And Shams, you were on this show yesterday, and you kind of set it up by saying they're evaluating everything, and they in fact did that 24 hours later, evaluated that they need a new head coach. And when you look around the NBA, you got Michael Malone in Denver, Taylor Jenkins, they were fired just before their teams started the playoffs this season. Seems to be a trend where coaches are having a lot of success with their franchise, and they're being shown the door. Why are we seeing this go on lately around the league?
I think a lot of it is the parity around the league. All of these teams feel like they are right there on the cusp of winning a championship. And the Knicks specifically built this roster: Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Those are the 3 really star-type players that they have acquired over the last year and a half. And when you go out and make those moves, you have expectations of winning a championship. And the Knicks believe that their window to win a championship was this season, and they fell short. And they feel the roster is adequate. And when a team feels that way, the pressure usually falls on the head coach. In Michael Malone's instance with Denver, they felt they needed a new voice. They end up winning a round. And now the Knicks feel like the next coach they bring in will allow them to move into a championship threshold. We'll see if they'll prove right.
Shams, all I know, the next time you're on SportsCenter with us, be it 2 or 5 p.m., and you see a team's evaluating things, I'll just be ready for the news the next day. Fair? Matt, Christine back with you. Happened around 2:45 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. Tom Thibodeau fired by the New York Knicks after leading them to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. When it broke, it got all sorts of reactions over the last few hours. Time to take 2.
He does not deserve to be fired. This was a bad move as far as I'm concerned by the New York Knicks.
There is so much pressure now in New York, now that we've seen what their potential is, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I also do feel for Coach Thibodeau because he tried. He tried his best, and we saw the evolution.
You're asking someone brand new to come in and try to create an identity. You're asking a coach to come in that didn't just lose to the Pacers and knows what that feels like and was standing on the sidelines experiencing those things. You're asking someone brand new to do it. It doesn't make sense to me.
But the question is identity.
Right.
When you look at the Pacers, we know what their identity is with offense and pace and movement and assists. When you look at the New York Knicks, their identity, the first thing that comes to my mind is a player.
Right.
Jalen Brunson in the clutch. That is not good enough in the NBA.
When you look at it from the standpoint of him being gone, it's like a scapegoat mentality. I want to see Leon Rose stand before the camera and justify firing a man that just took you within 2 games of a berth to the NBA Finals.
Here's what I find entertaining about this. It was 24 hours yesterday right here at this very moment. We had our take 2 about the Knicks. And you and I both sat up here and said, no way you don't fire Thibs. Bad move. 24 hours later, he's out of a job.
Still possibly a bad move. We don't know yet. But TBD.
I just don't know how you do it after everything he did for the franchise. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to find out from Kendrick Perkins joining us now for some reaction to this. And Perk, simply put, right or wrong to can Thibs?
It was wrong as hell. And I completely agree with Stephen A. Tom Thibodeau didn't deserve this, man, at all. You're talking about Tom Thibodeau, who has led this organization, the Knicks organization, to 4 postseasons out of his 5 seasons being there. Right? You were 2 games away from going to the NBA Finals. Tom Thibodeau wasn't out there trying to play defense. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns were the ones that were getting picked on. Josh Hart decided to disappear in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I said this after game 2. I actually tweeted it out. I said, listen, Karl Anthony Towns being benched in game 2, if the Knicks go on to lose this series, is going to cost Tom Thibodeau his job. And this is the second time that Tom Thibodeau has been fired fired as a coach while Karl Anthony Towns has been on the roster. The first time in Minnesota and now with the New York Knicks, which raised a red flag to me that somebody in that locker room don't like to be held accountable.
That's a very interesting point, Perk. When you think about who could coach this team, there's been a lot of names floating out there. Who do you think is the right fit?
Well, they released a statement. They said they're about winning championships. So, they're trying to win the championship. You got to go get a championship level coach. The only one that's available right now, in my opinion, is Michael Malone, who just got let go from the Denver Nuggets. We're talking about a guy that is from that area, right? From that area, and we're talking about a champion. We saw him get the best out of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, especially on the defensive side of things, if you want to address that issue. You bring in Michael Malone, and I hear a lot of people out there talking about Jay Wright, and I just got off the phone with our good friend and good colleague, Greeny, because he tweeted Jay Wright, and I said, no. You got to be neutral in this. You got to bring somebody in the locker room that's not going to play favoritism towards the Nova Knicks, towards a Jalen Brunson or a Josh Hart, but that's going to hold everybody accountable. Because, to be honest, it wasn't just the defense, it was the offense. You have Rick Brunson sitting on the bench as well. And I love Rick Brunson, but he was an assistant coach. What happens with him?
Yeah, look, there's a lot to sort out with the Knicks, especially after getting rid of the Celtics, who were the bane of everyone's existence in the Eastern Conference. I could get into why I'd make Perk my candidate, but we don't have time for that. So we'll sit tight and we'll.
I'd rather be here with y'all, Matt.
Thank you. All right, well, good for
I need
you.
my peace and sanity.
Yeah, so in 30 seconds, you're coming right back.
I can't deal with these new guys in these locker rooms.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm going harder where I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.